4 seasons fill the measure of the year. There are 4 seasons in the mind of man. He has his lusty spring, when fancy clear takes in all beauty with an easy span. He has his summer, when luxuriously spring's honeyed cut of youthful thought he loves to ruminate, and by such dreaming high is nearest unto heaven. Quiet coves his soul has in its autumn, when his wings he furleth close, contented so to look on mists and idleness, to let fair things pass by unheeded as a threshold brook. He has his winter too pale misfeature, or else he would forego his mortal nature.
Born in the ashes of the French Revolution was a time of radical changes, political, economical, and social. Changes in society lead to an artistic and literary revival.
Like most romantic poets, Keats lived a very difficult life, full of hardship. During his short life of 25 years, his father and mother and grandparents and brothers all died of tuberculosis. This was the fuel to his lyrical ballads.
My heart aches and a drowsy numbness pains, my sense as though of hemlock I had drunk, or emptied some dull opiate to the drains. 1 minute passed, and leather words had sunk. 'Tis not through envy of thy happy lot, but being too happy in thine happiness, that thou light-winged dryad of the trees, in some melodious plot of beech and green, and shadows numberless, singest of summer in full-throated ease. Oh, for a draught of vintage that hath been cooled a long age in the deep-delved earth, tasting of flora and the country green, dance and provincial song and sunburnt mirth. Oh, for a beaker full of warm south, full of the true, the blushful hippocrene, with beaded bubbles winking at the brim and the purple-stained mouth, that I might drink and leave the world unseen, and with thee fade away into the forest dim.
Now, what you have to understand about this poet is that he lived a very hard life. He lost all of his family at a very young age to tuberculosis. And he wrote about his experiences of death pertaining to it. Now, he was also very, very intelligent. He was also studying to be a doctor. He studied with surgeons. Also, like every other poet, he was obsessed with the Greek literature, because considering how the Greeks prized unparalleled beauty and perfected balance between everything.
His contrast of words and differing between negative and positive, as well as his apostrophe to show his wants and needs, really show how much he wants to be immersed in the world and surround himself in it and be a part of it, so that he may one day escape the things around him that are keeping him from being happy. It's the beauty of happiness for its own sake that enables people to be able to sing blissfully or to live free in joy. It's not the envy of happiness, rather the ability and desire to be happy.
Fade far away, dissolve, and quite forget what thou among the leaves hast never known. The weariness, the fever, the fret, here where men sit and hear each other groan, where palsy shakes a few sad, last grey hairs, where youth grows pale and spectre-thin and dies. Where but to think it to be full of sorrow and leaden-eyed despairs, where beauty cannot keep her lustrous eyes, or new love pine at them beyond tomorrow. Away, away, for I will fly to thee, not charioted by Bacchus and his pards, but on the viewless wings of poesy, through the dull brain perplexes and retards already with thee. Tender is the night, and haply the queen moon is on her throne, clustered around by all her starry fays. But here there is no light, save what from heaven is with breezes blown, through verdurous glooms and winding mossy ways.
There is no light. no hope. It's darkness, and there's no light going through the trees. Not even the moon can shine, and it's just like words like verdurous and winding, like make it just an existence, and it's just a covered maze of, and it's scary and darkness, and there's no way out, and fae is another word for fairies. And the personification of the moon is like a heaven's celestial light. And the fairy analogy is used to show the stars twinkling in the sky rather than just an overwhelming galaxy of light. It's heaven's celestial light.
Dreams are easier on the mind than what the world presents it with. The moon is a guiding light in this world of hopelessness. John Keats didn't use drinking to escape reality, but instead his poetry. And that took him to a place that's far more imaginative and much better for his conscious and subconscious. The places where he uses the repetition of making the world seem far and distant shows that he really wants to fade away into a world that's far more fretless and easier. And that's a world that has otherwise been oppressed from him and caused him to live in this world of sadness and the erosion of time.
I cannot see what flowers are at my feet, nor what soft incense hangs upon the boughs, but in embalmed darkness guess each sweet wherewith the seasonable month endows. The grass, the thicket, and the fruit tree wild, white hawthorn and the pastoral eglantine, fast fading violets covered up in leaves, and mid-May's eldest child, the coming musk rose full of dewy wine, the murmurous haunt of flies on summer's eve. Darkling I listen, and for many a time I have been half in love with easeful death, called him soft names and many a mused rhyme to take into the air my quiet breath. Now more than ever seems it rich to die, to cease upon the midnight with no pain, while thou art pouring forth thy soul abroad in such an ecstasy. Still wouldst thou sing, and I have ears in vain, to thy requiem become a sod.
The repetition of the word "the" creates a list of unique things that are each in themselves defined by the word "the." And because of it, they are more important. Though there is hope in this poem, it seems to fade, and those things that keep getting stronger and stronger, like death in this case, they seem to get in the way of the hope and overtake the hope. But it must not be forgotten. Though it is faded, the hope still remains. Though he would wish to die, and sometimes he does wish to die, he realizes that if he did die, he wouldn't be able to hear the nightingale's song. He realizes there would be no sound of hope. To finally be rid of all the things that tie him down, that bind him to sorrow, and all the constant death that was surrounding him, and all of the tragic atrocities in his life, and all of the sadness that always was around him, he would use nighttime to escape into the darkness. In this time, he was using the darkness to escape from his past, it would almost seem. Yes, he was escaping into the darkness from his past.
Thou was not born for death, immortal bird, no hungry generations tread thee down. The voice I hear this passing night was heard in ancient days by emperor and clown. Perhaps the self-same song that found a path through the sad heart of Ruth when, sick for home, she stood in tears amid the alien corn, the same that oft times hath charmed magic casements opening on the foam of perilous seas in fairylands forlorn. Forlorn, the very word is like a bell to toll me back from thee to my soul's self. Adieu, the fancy cannot cheat so well as she is famed to do, deceiving elf. Adieu, adieu, thy plaintive anthem fades. Past the near meadows, over the still stream, up the hillside, and now 'tis buried deep in the next valley glades. Was it a vision or a waking dream? Fled as that music, do I wake or sleep?